On 3 or 1, 2, 3, then open?
1, 2, 3, then open.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one.
It's always a nice way to start things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good sound.
What was this? You had a really funny joke here a minute ago. I'm like, what was it you were saying?
A minute ago.
Yeah, you're like, is it me? Or...
Oh, I was saying. This is a joke. This is real life. Is this me? Okay, is this a me thing or is this just a getting older thing? Eating a big dinner, eating out at a restaurant or something, and then immediately after having to blow your nose, like having a nice big steak with baked potato, and then right after just when you're done. Does that happen to you?
It does. It does.
It does. Okay.
The older I get, I sneeze louder, and so I got some chuckles here right off the bat. I should apologize in advance. My daughter brought home some kind of bubonic plague from the daycare. So you're both sick now that we're in the room together.
Yeah, we're aware.
I apologize.
I did have a day off tomorrow.
Yeah. Just going to blow my nose real quick, speaking of meals.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you waited till we were recording to...
I could do the...
That's how we're starting the episode.
Gesundheit.
So I was at the dentist the other day, and I said, dentist, as people refer to their dentist. I said, dentist, I have a serious problem with Twitter. And he said, sorry, I don't follow you.
Not bad.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, what time was your dentist appointment?
It was at Tooth Hurdy. Actually, my dentist said I had to cut down on coffee. I replied, hey, I like my coffee crisp. And he said, I can see that. You could probably lose a few pounds too. Yeah.
Is this just to be like, hey, Greg, I got to show you up?
Oh, no. We're going to get to that.
I feel like there's a comeback, you know?
Right. I told you he was going to be sore about that.
That was amazing. And then in
Shots fired.
You said, you're like, I'm taking a year off. You're after
Retiring
like
the champ.
1,000th joke. You're like, I'm taking a year off.
I had peaked.
Oh man, that was
Yeah, but you cut out all the other jokes. I think you only get to hear like 2 of mine.
No, there was lots in there. I had to make some pretty heavy cuts on the whiskey special. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, welcome back everyone to It's a Conspiracy. This is the podcast where we without the beliefs behind selected conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. I'm your host Andrew, and I don't claim to be an expert on anything we're going to discuss today, and I'll probably be wrong about everything as usual. That's how I roll. Being wrong like a boss. All of the information gathered for this was done online. You can go look it up for yourself if you'd like to check it out. The resources used will be in the episode description. Charlie works really hard on that.
Check it out.
I always go and like see that it's there, but I realized when I was saying this the other day, I actually stopped clicking the links because I'm like, I know what that is.
Yeah, they all go to Pornhub.
Okay.
Yep.
Every single one.
Because you said there was some sneaky surprises in there, and I was like, I wonder where it was.
Where are those?
Yeah.
Where could those be? Or did I make the whole thing up? Because I want attention.
So joining me, as always, as mostly always, are my wonderful friends and co-hosts, gorgeous Greg and charming Charlie. These
tag team champions.
These bedwetters will be presented with a few selected theories.
You don't know that.
Interject as they see fit. Now, fellers, there will be a lot less whiskey consumption on this episode, but I have to point out, just like we were just talking about, the last episode was called the Whiskey Time Adventure, but it should have been called the Sassy Greg Slam Down Showcase. Because, it was good though, man. That was a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Throw a robe on this guy and watch him go.
But that was like your wheelhouse, right? Like talking about flavors, talking about, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
And I had been like just gotten off work, so I was just like I was chatting all day with people about random stuff. So I was in a chatty mood.
Yeah.
And I didn't usually get to talk back to these people that were being kind of rude to me. Not that you guys were being rude, but I was just like, oh man, I don't have to be nice.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
The gloves came off.
Not sorry.
You should be like that all the time.
And it was great though. There was no, I didn't feel like, yeah. But and I don't know how you guys felt, but I was hungover for about 9 days after.
I slept
crazy
really
lightweight.
Yeah, it's whiskey.
Man, you crazy lightweight.
Yeah, it just took me a while to get all that work through my system. Yeah. You guys are okay though?
I was fine.
I slept till noon. Had breakfast.
Popped out of bed drank a couple of raw eggs, did my run, fought Apollo Creed.
Good red eye.
No
Nice.
problem.
All right. Well, then before we get started, if you would like to closely monitor what we are up to here at It's a Conspiracy, then please check out our website, it'saconspiracypodcast.com, where you can find links to our Twitter that's run by the Irish Madman, our Facebook, Instagram, email, and our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/It's a Conspiracy. And we have 2 podcast puppies, Kylo and Ren. They need your help. They're not but skin and bones. And there's a bit of a switch up in how we're running things this episode.
Switch?
So it'll be a little different than usual. Now, Charlie, with a yes or a no, can you tell me if you're familiar with these 2 things?
Boy, howdy.
Number 1, we never went to the moon.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, Australia isn't real.
No.
Okay. Now, number 3.
Number 3. That's my turn. I get to do one this time. You guys got any good conspiracies you want me to talk about? Because I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I really do my.
Prince never wrote any of his own music.
Ooh, shit.
Oh my.
I just made that up on the spot, actually. Sorry.
Damn. That is
Wow.
damning.
I heard one the other day that was when Michael Jordan started playing baseball, it's because he was secretly suspended by the NBA. Yeah.
That would have been all over
So
the
that
Twitter.
whole retirement thing wasn't really real.
Yeah. I guess not.
But for real, though, number 3, Andrew, have you heard of the Philadelphia experiment?
I have, and it's one of my favorites.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh.
Well, shit, if you've heard about it, then
No, but I haven't heard your take on it. I love it, man.
Did you have a backup plan?
Yeah, dude.
nope. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Okay, subject number 1. The moon landing hoax.
What did I tell you?
Damn it. I mean, Charlie, turn your phone off. Shit. The timing on that was spectacular.
Unreal.
This is by far the most requested conspiracy theory that at least I've had when I've been talking to people either online or in person. There's something about this that feels very topical, despite the fact that it happened almost 50 years ago. And I don't want to venture into opinion time just yet, but I feel that part of the reason that this theory is at an all-time high is because collectively our trust in the government is at an all-time low.
And the earth is flat.
And the earth is flat and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, hard to say. There's so many reasons, but it's those damn clowns in Congress. They've done it again, those clowns.
In that Congress clown car.
Yeah. Anyway, the moon landing hoax is the theory that NASA's Apollo program was a complete fraud. No one actually ever made it to the moon, and that there was a massive cover up to make it look like this had occurred in order to win the space race. And concurrently further the Cold War between the Americans and the Soviet Union.
Burr.
There are so many aspects of this that it's hard to tackle this subject in one segment. So I'm just going to list a few of the major critiques that supporters of the theory have before focusing on one particular part. Greg, you've read a lot about this before and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So just zip in, just pull out the sassiness and
Well, we'll just see where you're heading with this.
Okay, cool. And just a heads up, I guess it's not really going to be a pop quiz now, but there's going to be a pop quiz.
Ooh.
So just a heads up.
Took the pop out of that quiz.
At some point in this segment here, we've got a popper coming at you. Real popper. Just nice pop. Number 1, the Van Allen belts. That sounds like a singing family group. The Van Allen belts. 2 rings of radiation just outside Earth's atmosphere have extraordinarily high levels of radiation, and the astronauts would have gone through this wearing less protection than your typical person does while getting an X-ray at a hospital. Number 2, the flag that the Americans planted in a very nationalistic moment that is a little bit frightening in retrospect, appeared to, and I'm doing the finger quotes, wave.
Hello.
As if being moved
Hello.
by the wind. Yeah. But there's no wind on the moon, so it couldn't wave. Yeah, it couldn't. There's no wind to blow those gentlemen. No blowing. No blows.
No blowies for moon men.
The number 3, the astronauts left very clear boot prints in the lunar dust while they were walking around, but somehow their lunar lander didn't leave a mark when it blasted off the moon's surface. So here's a picture.
Or landed.
Or landed. Yeah, that's right.
Because
Yeah.
they would have needed a booster rocket to slow it down from crashing into the moon.
So there's your boot.
Yeah, boot.
Size 13.
You got a boot.
Yep. Nike.
It's a boot tame. And here's a shot
Just fake it.
from the lunar module as it rocketed off the surface for its majestic journey back to Earth. So here it is flying away.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it goes.
No,
Bye.
no craters, no rockets.
Can I see that photo one more time?
Sure.
Wait, that's
So like not to go into opinion time, but someone could argue that you are not seeing directly underneath the
Absolutely.
lunar liner. So
Yeah.
So, are you sure that's not just a picture of your sandbox?
Don't you mean NASA's sandbox?
NASA's sandbox. I should point out that these are only like a few of them. There's literally hundreds of like little things that people have pointed out. There was like 11 minutes of dead air, stuff like that. Number 4, a number of astronauts in training for the Apollo mission died under very, very bizarre circumstances leading up to the initial launch. There was like a dozen of them. Most suspicious is the death of a man named Thomas Barron. Barron had been a contractor involved with the program and was very critical of both the process and the chances of success. He wrote up a scathing report of the companies involved and the government officials involved, and he presented this, and it was basically ignored. After this, he leaked the report to the media and was subsequently fired from his position with the NAA. So the NA, he was fired from NA, and he was scheduled to testify at a hearing to share this evidence. Like, it went to the media. It was a big hullabaloo, and then there was going to be a little whatever. He was going to testify at it, and just days before that process, he was killed with his entire family in a freak traffic accident. So their car was parked at a controlled intersection and was struck by a train. Killed everybody in the car, and then foul play was never officially suggested, and allegedly no deep investigation of the accident ever happened. So pretty strange little time.
yeah, because I just like to park my car on railroad tracks.
And just wait there with your family.
they're usually
while the train's
free.
coming.
Well, it's kind of
They're
that's
usually
what I
open
call
spots.
a Saturday afternoon, man.
That's right. I mean, if you're going to Costco, that lot's always full. Just park on the tracks.
Well, it's a fun little game to see how close the train can get before you're like, okay, kids, come on, let's go. I know.
I'm not moving.
Supporters of this theory claim that visionary director Stanley Kubrick was hired to fake the footage after his incredibly accurate portrayal of space in the film 2001, A Space Odyssey. Further claims on this suggest that Kubrick deliberately left hints about his role in the cover-up in films like The Shining and Full Metal Jacket. And we will return to this theory in later episodes. Ooh. The sizzle. Can you feel the sizzle? So hot. This isn't so much of a we didn't go there, but rather a they didn't tell us bloody everything theory. In the classic film, one of Greg's favorites, Transformers 3, Dark of the Moon.
Yeah, sure.
We find out that astronauts discovered Transformers on the moon in the 60s. And they were bad ones?
Yeah, well, I think so.
Is that where the Decepticons
I
are?
never
I don't
really
know.
watched it.
Okay,
Oh, that's weird to make a
That doesn't
movie
line
you've
up
never
with-
really seen
yeah.
as your favorite film.
That's odd.
Yeah, I just like to tell people that it's my favorite film.
Okay.
Because they're always like, is that the one before, what's his face?
I was
got
gonna say,
involved?
was that when Marky Mark got in there?
Yeah, no.
Mark
That's the one right before.
Is Marky Mark in that one?
I think he's in the next one.
Comes in the
Okay.
next one.
Like the Dark of Fall or something. No, wait, that's the one we're talking about.
There's one with the dinosaur. I don't know. They're all
They're all pretty.
It all gets blended together. And I
Same
ran
movie 5 times.
and it's the weird thing about Transformers is they're aliens.
They're more than meets the
They're
eye.
more than meets the eye. Yeah,
that
they
all
are.
about?
They're robots in disguise.
But exactly, they're robots in disguise, but they're aliens. But they look like robots. So are they robots or are they aliens? It's like that whole
Both.
Tuna is the chicken of the sea. So is it tuna or is it chicken? Like, what are we eating here?
Yeah.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to see the chicken.
But yeah, so I think the ones on the moon were bad. Okay. I'm not sure.
I don't know where we were going with this.
yes. But I digress.
That's right.
Are we just talking about the dark side of the moon?
No, that was the Pink Floyd album.
Nope, that was Pink Floyd album.
No, but isn't that where they found the robots?
Oh, yeah, the Dark Side.
They were ripping around somewhere and they found the robots. Yeah. And they had to cover it up. And that was the whole thing. So with that in mind, I have a pop quiz for you guys. For you sons of bitches.
Dinobots.
I'm going to say a name, and it's up for you two to choose whether this is a Transformer or a Shakespearean character.
Oh, let's do this.
Okay.
Starscream.
Okay. Some of these are a little...
Shakespeare.
Some of these are a little tricky, but the first one's easy. Okay. So once again, the pop quiz is this a Transformer or a Shakespearean character? Number 1, the Abbot of Westminster.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Number 2, Carnivac.
Shakespeare. No,
Transformers. Number 3, Ajax.
Shakespeare.
Both.
It might be both, but it is Shakespeare.
Oh, you didn't even do the do a Google search on these things?
No, well, there might be a Transformer name. That sounds like a Transformer name for sure. Number 4, Orion Pax.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare it is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get an answer on that one.
Oh, sorry. Orion Pax.
Tom Hanks.
Transformer.
Number 5, Autocyclists.
I've been going first. You go first.
Shakespeare.
Autocyclists.
Oh, there's Shakespeare.
Shakespeare it is. The Winter's Tale. I might be saying that wrong. Number 6, Pyramus.
Transformer.
Shakespeare it is.
Oh, damn it.
Number 7, this is one of my favorites, Erector.
Damn near killed her.
Oh, yeah, that's a
else.
That's a Transformer.
Transformer.
Okay, number 8, Dogberry.
Shakespeare.
That's Shakespeare. Okay, number 9, Lady Vivian Wembley.
Shakespeare.
That's what I was going to say, too.
Transformers, you fools.
Shit.
Yeah, Lady Vivian Wembley is in, I think she's in the last one.
Oh, wait.
with
Is that a
Anthony
human
Hopkins.
being or is that a...
Well, it's Transformers characters. So
Oh,
I know.
that's
I got a
okay.
little-
You cheated.
That's
You cheated.
I don't make the rules for these things.
dirty pool.
Never playing these games.
I know. Sorry about that. My wife hates jokes about Transformers because I'm always like, no, wait, I can change. Okay, number 6, perhaps most telling for all of this theory. Okay, perhaps most telling of all for this theory is the fact that the Americans stopped sending manned spacecraft to the moon. No one has actually set foot on the moon since 1972. Yet it's clear that modern technology could probably gather a whole lot of information than whatever shitty equipment they had in the late 1960s and 70s. So if you just think of just television and telephones, how advanced they've become since 1972. And they, yeah. Apparently they have the ability to send people back to the moon and they're like, no, we learned everything there was with that.
No, we saw it all.
Yeah, that camera we had in the 60s.
Not too sure that's how that actually goes.
Well, no, because they can, and this is opinion time. You can take pictures. You don't have to send somebody there, but they're like, why don't they go back? Because they could learn so much stuff now.
No. Well, okay. This isn't about an opinion time.
Oh, wait a minute.
So they had the technology, and what they did is they threw out all the blueprints for it. So they don't actually have the technology to go back to the moon anymore.
Dumb idiots.
I swear to God, check it out.
No, I know what you're talking about. I think because it's progressed so far that to go back was such an enormous, and there was like gaps. There was like missing gaps.
No, they just don't have any blueprints to start off on. They can guarantee, they're like, yeah, it happened and we have this stuff. We just have no way to like work off of it, which sounds pretty bunk.
But they're pretty smart. They
Yeah, they
figured
are.
it
They
out
are smart.
once.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring this into opinion time, but this is like straight from a rep from NASA. It's like, we had the technology and then we threw out the blueprints for it. And we don't know how that happened.
To further on that point, there was something like 400,000 people involved, which sounds like a lot, but like from the beginning all the way up to the splashdown in 1972.
Yep.
So there was a lot of NASA officials like at this point. So you could be right. And if one person was like, nah, I don't know where all that stuff is.
This
like,
was recent. This was in the past decade that this guy was like, we had it, we know what they used, we just don't know how to recreate it.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have better technology. We just don't know how they figured it out.
We'll we'll look this up. This sounds super familiar.
Put a pin in it.
Yeah, like I said, there's a million branches of this thing. Like it's huge.
There'll be
And
reason
you
to
can never sum it up.
revisit in season 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
But let's track that down and we'll put it in the episode description now that we've talked about it. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, blah, 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 there's so much that we could talk about here that we're just going to...
That's how it sounds
That's
when you
amazing.
talk. Yeah.
That's what we just said. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about here is what many agree to be the first official voice of denial. Now, denial is not just a river in Egypt.
I was
come
wondering.
on.
I thought you might say that.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty typical that way. There's no doubt that there was a massive amount of skepticism right off the bat when the moon landing was televised. If someone isn't familiar with the process involved and the mind-boggling amounts of planning, then the entire thing seems like an impossible venture. However, it stepped up when Bill Kaysing released his book, We Never Went to the Moon, in 1972. This book presented a number of discrepancies that flat out challenged the notion that the U.S. had sent anyone to the moon. Kaysing claimed that the entire thing was an enormous cover-up to fool fellow governments and like lower levels of government in the U.S., allies of the U.S., enemies of the U.S., and basically the entire global population. The book went on to sell millions and became a worldwide phenomenon. That book actually came out just a few years after Chariots of the God. Do you guys remember that? We talked about the astronauts. Yeah. So it was like, this was in the public consciousness. Everybody's talking about it. Most official government bodies remain silent on these issues when they come up. But interestingly, in 1977, 5 years after Kaysing's book came out, NASA released a public statement addressing the book directly and disputing the claims. The release was in the form of a fact sheet and directly challenges the notion of the hoax while pointing out the physical evidence. Some of that evidence is on public display in science centers across the world. I remember when I was a kid, I saw some moon rocks here in Edmonton. Did you guys ever see the moon?
I feel like I did.
Yeah, you might have seen little Charlie and his lederhosen down there.
I tried to steal them, but you know.
No, I never saw them.
You never saw them? No. Yeah. Did you ever go to a science center when you were a kid?
I went to it wasn't called Telus World of Science. It was the Space and Science.
The Space Science Center. I still call it that.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Is that what it's called now?
That's what it's called.
Okay.
Oh, Charlie's saying
Gotcha.
he's refuting
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the IMAX theater there when I was really young.
Oh, man. Yeah. That was like a big thing at the time.
Oh,
yeah.
well, brand new technology back in 1994.
This guy's so young.
I know. Oh, man.
How did I get involved with you guys?
Seriously,
He likes to throw it in our faces.
the fact that the entire process was covered by... some of which was on display in the World's Energy. And the fact that the entire process was covered by international media from the earliest planning stages until the safe return of the astronauts. That's one of the points that NASA had. They were like, look, the media, international media was all over this from the time we announced it. Like JFK's like, we're going to put a man on the moon. And then from that point on, they were covering it. They were writing about it.
That's not how JFK
all the way up
sounds.
to the man on the moon.
He was Irish.
Yeah. He was an Irishman. And I won't be, my voices are going to be all fucked up this time because I got this nasty little, I got the coughs.
You're going to be a little bit off now, not 100% dead on.
Yeah, no. Although I don't think I've ever been 100%. So, say 99. Hey? Low 70s. There will be a link to the original fact sheet in the episode description if you'd like to check it out. Nearly 30 years later, in collaboration with We Never Went to the Moon, Bill Kaysing, the author of that book, he did this together with Fox TV. They started up the debate all over again when they released a documentary called Conspiracy Theory. Did we land on the moon? And once again, NASA released their fact sheets and rebuttals to the hoax rumors. And some say they doth protest too much. Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. So, Greg, what are we drinking?
What are we drinking? What are we drinking?
We are drinking the Big Shoots Lager from Freehold Brewing Company.
Shoot some lagers.
It's pretty tasty. I am quite enjoying this. I'm really happy it's not hoppy.
I'm hoppy. It's not happy.
Something like that.
Oh, choking again.
Give him a second.
I thought he was done.
I'm going to turn that into a ringtone.
That's $1 million idea right there, actually. The rundown on this bad boy is long hours under the sun, ripening barley and hops. No, wait, that's not what it is. What the hell is going on here?
That is the.
Where'd you get that from?
That's what it says on the back.
That's what it. Yeah, that's the rundown.
Man, Big Shoots Lager. Bright, fruity, sun-drenched. Long hours under the sun, ripening barley and hops give this beer an approachable quality known for a distinctive aroma and that hearty finish of grains down your throat. Oh, God. Drinkable, shareable, a beer suited for the patio or après tractor. Would you have another?
I'm glad you had to read that one.
It just came off very aggressive right in there. Just like a long hours under the sun. Didn't seem like the right thing to read at the time. In celebration of our humble agricultural roots. Oh, typical Calgary.
Yeah. Would you have another Freehold Brewing Company?
I mean, I would have another.
Yeah, this is good. And I know, like,
I would share another one with you guys.
Yeah, there we go. I'm like a broken record, man, but that can is just spectacular.
Well, the thing I like about it is its simplicity.
You're a minimalist?
Yep, that is a graphic designer did that can for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
There's a lot of left alignment.
Have you noticed that
Simple two-color design,
Like-
mostly text-based.
Have you noticed that a lot of the craft breweries now, their cans are really putting a lot of like design work into it?
Oh, yeah,
It's
they're
not like-
amazing.
yeah, like it's incredible.
What's your opinion on the font?
It's nice. It's very clean. It's a little spaced out. No, it's actually, I know that font. I think that might be the same font as Sherbrooke Liquor.
Liquor.
Whoa.
I hardly knew her.
I do got to say there's a discrepancy between this like après tractor and this like kind of modern sleek design.
Have
Yeah, that's a neat,
you seen a modern tractor?
No, I know, but if you're
this is
appealing
like a
to
New York City design
Yeah.
on talking about like a Oklahoma tractor.
yeah,
kinda.
yeah. I guess that's what
Does that work?
Charlie's what he's gonna slam it down.
I think you just described Calgary in
Perhaps
in the smallest nutshell.
that could be what it is. But this is good. This is really good. I'm liking it. Yeah. It's a lager.
It's tasty.
That's one of the things you go to England and you're like, what kind of beer do you have? They're like, well, we have ales and lagers and it's like,
Right. Lager's fine.
yeah.
I'm more into lagers than ales, so
Yeah.
I'm a Pilsner man myself.
Right, but beer is the umbrella term, and if they can tell you're not from around there, they should be like, well, around here, my sweet lad, we call them ales and lagers and pilsners and hefeweizens.
Hefeweizens. Oh, I love a Hefeweizen.
An adult beverage.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Australia Bloody Real.
I see you've played Knifey Spoony before.
In our very first episode, we discussed the flat Earth theory. That theory, just like the moon landing, has a general overview, but is made up of a number of smaller theories to support it. One such ingredient theory has been put forth by a branch of flat earthers who are suggesting that Australia and presumably all of Oceania.
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 Oceania. What do you think it is? Irish?
I'm not sure. Oceania. Oceania.
Have you never read 1984?
I don't think I've said this out. Yeah, no, we're not
He's
talking
read it,
about
but
like
he's not
the
listened to it.
renamed United Kingdom. This is like the continent.
Yeah, it's the same
Okay.
name. Sorry.
Oceania? Is that how you say it? Oceania? I think I need
Oceania.
Oceania. Oceania. From the banks
Sounds
of
like
the
you're trying to
Oceania.
beckon a woman down from her.
Oceania.
Oceania.
Show me your hair. Anyways, that would include New Zealand and a few other places. Basically, it doesn't exist. It's impossible to say, and it doesn't exist. This statement from the official UNSW Flat Earth Society Facebook page I've taken a screenshot of this post and I'll put it in the episode description. Basically describes the cover-up in its entirety. Okay. I was going to do this in an Australian accent, but it's just the voice.
I wish you would.
Not just
do it.
You should do it, and then we can get your friend to do it again.
Oh, he's not my friend, that bastard.
That guy.
Just do it. Just do it.
Australia is not real. It's a hoax made for us to believe that Britain moved over their criminals to some place in reality. All these criminals were loaded off the ships into the waters. That was a bizarre beginning to an Australia. I don't know what the hell came out.
The name of the nerd guy from The Simpsons. It's kind of where I thought he was going with this.
What happened?
I don't know. My brain is just too
man.
much. Yeah.
Hey, man.
A little too much NyQuil.
Fuck, mate. Enough of the shithouse accents, would ya? Let me do it properly for you again. Here we go. Australia is not real. It's a hoax, made for us to believe that Britain moved over their criminals to some place. In reality, all these criminals were loaded off the ships into the waters, drowning the poor bastards before they could see land again. It's a cover-up for one of the greatest mass murders in history, made by one of the most prominent empires. Australia does not exist. All things you call proof, air quotes, are actually well-fabricated lies and documents made by the leading governments of the world. Your Australian friends, like me, they're all actors and computer-generated personas. Part of the plot to trick the world. If you think you've ever been to Australia, I can tell you, you're bloody wrong. The plane pilots, as opposed to like ship pilots, are all in on this, and they've only actually flown you to an island close by somewhere. In some cases, it's part of South America, where they've cleared space and hired a bunch of actors to act like Australians. Australia is one of the biggest hoaxes ever created, and you've all been tricked. Join the movement today and make it known that you have been deceived. Make it known that this has all just been a big cover-up. The things these Australians say to be doing, all these swear words and actions based on alcoholism, MDMA and bad decisions, are all in ways to distract you from the ugly truth is one of the greatest genocides in history. 162,000 people were said to have been transported to this imaginary land during the mere 80 years, and they're all long dead now. They never reached that promised land. Tell the truth, stand up for what is right. Make sure you spread the word. Australia is not real. It's a code word for the cold-blooded murder of more than 100,000 people, and it's not okay. We will not accept this. Stand up for the ones who have died. Let it be known that Australia does not exist.
Hashtag Australia is not real. Yeah, that's the end of the quote.
You good?
Yeah.
You good? It's very tough to hold back opinion time right now.
Oh, man, I just want to
So tough. I'm just like, just internalize.
What
it.
are you
you'll come back to
talking
it.
about?
You'll come back to it.
Okay, sorry. Not to get into opinion time.
No, we're waiting.
But yeah, we're going to wait. But I got to say, this theory is just airtight. All the maps are adapted, including ones from before England was sending anyone anywhere. Anyone who claims to be from Australia is a hired actor. My quote friend. The aviation and sailing companies are in on this, and they're going to take you, quote, somewhere full of hired actors to fool you and keep the lie going. Frankly, I'm becoming convinced. I can't even say that seriously. I'm not. Okay. In a separate post from the Facebook group, I noticed that the existence of Elon Musk is also called into question for some bizarre reason. So, yeah.
This sounds a lot more airtight than Finland not existing.
Oh, man. Yeah. Or there's like a town in Germany that allegedly doesn't exist. Yeah. It's like, yeah. Anyways. So I looked this up really quick. This is kind of an aside thing. There's an online dating service called meetup.com in Australia. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but I used the Googles on the internets to look up public meetups for people in Australia that believe in the flat earth theory. So it's like-minded people getting together for flat fun. There are 2 such groups in Australia with over 100 members. So maybe they're all hired actors. Maybe they're conflicted with their own beliefs. Or maybe, and here's another, this is an exclusive.
Hot take.
They have an idiotic notion that they are real and that the rest of the world is a massive round earth lie. Right? Because what would prevent them from being like, oh, Canada doesn't exist?
This is the whole world
Well,
right
the
here.
fact that, you know, we have amazing maple syrup.
Have you ever had maple syrup, though? How do you know it's not a crisis actor?
But have you?
You know, it's not a crisis actor.
From crisis trees, in little crisis jars, on your crisis pancakes.
From Crisis Town.
Oh, actually, it's just crisis cakes.
Crisis cakes, yeah.
Oh, I'll get a 3 stack of crisis cakes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Australia is not real.
Australia
We'll
is
just
not
hold
real.
tight on that one for opinion time. There's a couple of thoughts.
This is going to be a spicy opinion time.
So that takes us all the way to the Mandela Minuet.
Mandela Minute.
Mandela Minute.
Okay, so for everybody out there who doesn't know what the Mandela effect is, the Mandela effect is the belief that there are two universes that have collided into one, and there are people that exist on this now new universe that are coexisting from each universe. Everyone has experienced a semi-different background or has memories of different things happening at different times. For example, Nelson Mandela, apparently, I remember Nelson Mandela dying a few years ago, back in 2005, around Christmas. A lot of people remember him dying back in the 80s, back when he was in jail, before he was released and became president and apartheid and all that. So,
you saying Nelson Mandela became the president?
yeah, of Earth.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, president of Earth.
Oh, shit.
President of
We got no one.
maple syrup.
Earth Point, too.
President of Australia.
Anywho,
we came out of nowhere. Since we were talking about times of JFK, which was the moon landing not happening, we're going to be talking about JFK.
JFK. That's a new fun game.
I'm going off all on memory because
Yeah.
me and Andrew talked about this quite some time before even this podcast was an actual thing.
this is what begat the entire thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This is the origin. All right, so it's just to fit in with the little moon landing thing, we're gonna stick with kind of the JFK era style of stuff. Do you guys remember when JFK was assassinated?
I remember
Vaguely.
seeing it in the Oliver Stone film.
You guys were there. Okay, you guys,
was
none
on
of
the
us were
side of the
actually there, but
street.
you guys remember that he was
seen-
assassinated and he was in Dallas, Texas.
Sure.
He was
The Zapruder film, yeah.
in the
the car.
Zapruder film, and he's driving down that street,
Yeah.
and he gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
Can you, at this moment in time, recollect how many people were actually in the car with him at that moment, including himself?
Okay. I don't remember that well, but logistics tells me that it was a boat of a car, probably 4 seats. It would have 2 people in the front, and then him and his wife would be sitting on the back like they used to do in parades.
Yeah.
Like it was the driver and then the governor of Texas.
Sure.
Beside the driver, and then in the back seat was Jackie in the back seat.
Oh,
Jackie,
yeah, but
was
like
his wife, and JFK.
but sitting on the back, on the top, you know?
Yeah,
They
like
used to-
not in the
They
seats.
weren't on the back; they were in the seats. They weren't like
Not in my mind.
Okay,
they
sorry.
were on the top of the seats.
they were riding on the chairs.
eating a party platter.
I do declare.
Because that's all my factual knowledge is from cartoons.
And
Anywho, so you're saying they're like, specs of the car saying that there's 4
4
people. Andrew?
4 people, absolutely.
4 people. Okay. So in actual reality, there were 6 people in the car.
Why?
How the hell were the other 2 people?
What, is this a party bus?
So it was 2 Secret Service in the front, 1 driving, 1 being security, because you can't
Going to the strip
you
club?
can't secure and drive at the same time.
No, you
Got free
can't.
coupons.
In the seat behind those 2 was the governor of Texas and his wife, and behind them was JFK and Jackie.
I do not remember
Why
there
are
being
there so many
6
seats?
people. This car must
So
be
this car,
huge.
this car was specifically built for the president to tour around in with either a representative in the middle and him and his wife in the back, or
Uh-oh. We can do it in the back if you want to.
how it was back. It was the '60s. Lots of free love. So in the reality that we live in, there were 6 people in the car.
6 people.
You guys, you're saying you remember seeing 4.
I remember clearly, like the Zapruder film, most of which comes from like the
Charlie
JFK
doesn't.
movie.
Yeah, Charlie doesn't really remember. So you're just going with
Charlie
logistics.
doesn't really remember much.
Charlie's thinking of like
So
a
he's
party
just saying
platter.
4. My mom is different from both you guys, and she says that there was 5.
In the Mamaverse, there was 5, meaning
Mamaverse.
Mamaverse.
so the
So
driver.
it was the driver and the security, so both the Secret Service men, The governor by himself. His wife was waiting for them to arrive wherever they were supposed to finish their little drive trip. And then JFK and Jackie in the back.
Which would have pointed to her as a main suspect.
Suspicious.
Here's the thing. There is a photo out there of the car, of the actual car that JFK was shot in, and they say it's 301 because there's the bouquet of flowers that Jackie was holding while they were driving, and there's only a seat in the back and then a seat in the front. There is no third seat for anybody to sit.
What is this fucking third seat?
Okay, wait. What? Sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
there's an official photo of the car.
Yeah.
And there's only 4 seats.
Time magazine. You'll check it out there. You can check it out. There's a lot of photos, and there's only 4 seats: 2 in the front and the 2 in the back.
We'll make sure
there
to
is
put
no,
that out as
there is no
Instagram.
third row.
Okay, but there were
Third row seats.
But there is a
in the,
third
in
row.
in the new universe.
There's in the new universe. They're not in the new universe.
think
In
it's
this
retcon.
universe, if you were to look back at the Time magazine when they show photos of of what had happened, and then after effects, where there's just the car. It's empty. There's no bodies in it. There's only 2 rows. There's
Oh, you
the
know
row
why?
where you would sit in the front, and the 2 rows where Jackie and JFK were sitting.
Sure.
What?
Stow and go.
Stone go.
Yeah, they put the seats down. You fit more stuff in there.
I believe that wasn't a thing until at least 1992.
No, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
yeah.
That's not
Cars in the 60s had like a little liquor cabinet right by the steering wheel.
But
and
you can also check out a museum.
player.
You can also check out a site about this museum that's specifically there for. It's a museum about JFK and his presidency, and they have the exact replica of the car. And there's 3 rows in it.
3 rows.
Man, that is weird.
And they had it built specific. They had it built specifically with the specifications that JFK had his car built.
That's big money, no whammies.
So does that? Do any of us? Which do you remember? Granted that
I'm gonna go with
you-
my mom because I remember there being 5. There was no wife of the governor in the car.
Man, Charlie, can you look up a quick image of this? I just want to see.
Of the
Yeah, you were. Yeah, do you have something there? We can Google's. Google.
Jesus.
Show me car. JFK. Hot. Now.
Oh, it's got a picture of the car.
Oh, look at
There's
that.
6 people in there.
Yeah, man, but this picture straight up looks. First of all, that's a sweet car.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sick
But
whip.
that looks. It's the windshield and like there's like a weird railing between the front seat and the back seat. Then that's why it looks like I think it was the governor is sitting. Dude, there are 5 people in this picture. Look at that. No, there's 6. Never mind. This reminds me of an amazing. Okay, you guys have both seen Terminator 2? Okay, now we're going to include this in the episode description. There is a part. Do you guys remember when the T-1000 when the T-1000 got into the helicopter and was like flying around?
Oh yeah, where he like kind of like swoops himself through the thing and he's like,
Yeah.
get out,
Hey,
and the guy
get out. And he
jumps.
throws the guy. Do you remember the scene when he's shooting through the windshield of the helicopter?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's flying a helicopter and shooting a windshield. If you go back and watch that scene, he has morphed and has 3 hands.
Yeah.
2 hands on the steering wheel.
No, one flying,
Or 2
two
hands.
flying, and one doing something else.
2 hands on the gun and 1 hand on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And you got to go back. And every time I think of this, I'm like, that's an amazing thing that I have to mention on the podcast. Because basically everything we somehow tie back to like some 90s
Somewhere.
sci-fi. Like Highlander, Terminator, woo.
But anyway, I don't know which reality we all lived in a different one apparently. I don't know which one I'm from in because I'm just basing my information on what my mom remembers.
You're from the Greg's Mamaverse.
Yeah.
And
Mamaverse, yeah.
Charlie and I are both in the born in the late 70s, early 80s verse. And
But that being said, the government has had their hands on the Zapruder tape for so long that who's to say that they just haven't changed?
totally. And any of that stuff that comes out now, they're like, oh, it's 6 new seconds from the Zapruder film.
Yeah.
It's like, we saw what you did with Lord of the Rings there, Peter Jackson. I'm sure that you could change.
Yeah, remember
the
when they
Zapruder film.
added some more scenes in the original Star Wars?
Flawlessly.
Can't even tell.
Star Wars Eye?
They don't stick out like a piece of shit in the swimming pool at all.
They aged very well.
'Cause I'm
Look,
like, I want to.
All I know about JFK is that he was one of the best characters in Clone High.
I agree.
I agree.
Can you do your peanut arms guy? I don't remember what it was.
You know, peanut arms.
For dinner, I would like the party platter. That's the JFK voice I was hoping for.
Yeah. Well, you can do that quote if you want to. You want to jump in on that quote? We'll just punch it in.
Punch in your JFK quote?
No, it wasn't a JFK quote. It was you could read the Australia thing.
No. I can't do the Australian accent.
Australia. That sounds a little South African accent.
I'm not so good at the accents.
We are still rolling.
That's fine.
Hoeing and rolling.
Bosun, Hoeing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't think of any other words. Rowing?
Yeah.
Rowan and Hoeing.
Just like the settlers. So I guess that takes us to subject number 3.
Oh, number 3.
Here we go. Number 3.
The Philadelphia Experiment. In 1943, 2 years into the United States' involvement in World War II, the United States Navy ran experiments which purportedly teleported the USS Eldridge, a Navy destroyer escort, from the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to another shipyard in Norfolk, Virginia. Virginia. They also successfully made it invisible to the naked eye, or cloaked using the Trekkie vernacular. They did it by equipping the Eldridge with several large generators which were rumored to be designed to power a new kind of magnetic field. The story came out 10 years later from Carl Allen, or Carlos Allende, as the kids were calling him. Carlos wrote that the Philly experiment was made possible by Einstein's unified field theory, which old Einie himself had told Carlos about. The unified field theory in particle physics is an attempt to describe all fundamental forces and the relationships between elementary particles in terms of a single theoretical framework. I don't know what that means. Not being content with the idea that gravity and electromagnetism are completely independent fields of each other, the owl Einstein spent the last years of his life working on this theory. Sadly, he never succeeded in proving or finishing his work before he died. But that doesn't mean that the Navy didn't have their top scientists hard at work to crack the code, leading to the now you see it, now you don't shenanigans. I'm going to take a sip of beer here. A sip of beer.
That was a lot of scientific information.
Boy.
So they turned it invisible.
They made it invisible.
They made it, and they teleported it.
It's two different experiments.
Using
The
gravity.
first one they teleported it.
Yeah.
Or one of the first one they made it invisible. The second one they teleported it back and forth. It is interesting to note that there's no evidence of Carlos Allende and Einstein ever meeting, but that doesn't mean that it never happened. They may have met. They may have even started a folk rock duo. Maybe even called it the Norfolk Rocksters. But as things were very different in the pre-digital age, I guess we'll never know. The initial test of the new ship's capabilities was run in broad daylight with a full crew on board, and witnesses describe an eerie green-blue glow surrounding the hull of the ship. Then instantaneously and inexplicably, it disappeared. Not just invisible to radar, but gone. Great gonzo. Gone, gone, gone. She been gone so long. Vanished into thin air. The Eldridge then reportedly appeared in the Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Virginia before, going back to Philly for some more cheesesteaks. According to classified military reports, which I don't know how I got heard about this, members of the Eldridge crew suffered from terrible burns and disorientation. Mangled seamen and sailors were found partially embedded in the steel hull of the ship, still alive, with arms and legs sealed to the deck.
Ooh.
That's a real fun sight, huh?
Yeah.
Still wiggling around.
Never mind. How often do you say mangled semen?
Yeah, I know. That was a good one. Another part of the legend is an account of a wild post-experiment bar fight during which 2 of the soldiers involved in the experiment vanished into thin air mid-brawl. Just a bar fight that disappeared. You don't even know who won.
Oh, because they were like
They were part of the crew.
they were like temporarily displaced. So they
And
were
that
like,
was it.
Just suddenly, like a couple days later, just beamed out of
They were
there.
gone. Yeah. Unfortunately, aside from letters penned by Carlos and Allende, we are forever without further proof of this incredible event. Or are we?
Ooh.
Man,
Witness Al Bielek has given his firsthand account that on that fateful day, I was diving into the water around the ship with me brother that day it happened. I don't know why he's British.
Well, that's good. Keep it with the theme. Why not? He's a Brit. He's a bloody Brit.
It's just so easy. I was diving into the water around the ship that day with me brother when it happened, and I saw the effects of the experiment. That's not all I saw.
You sound like Boris Johnson, man. This is amazing. Oh.
Well, that's not all I saw. Oh, I saw the effects of the experiment, and that's me and Duncan. We were teleported into the future to the year 2137, where we lived for 2 years before returning to the year 1983. Al has written 2 books that describe his experiences, but has been dismissed by skeptics as being just plain crazy.
Yeah. You don't say. You don't say.
He skipped a whole bunch. He went from 43 to 2137, right back to 1983.
Man.
He just skipped 40 years.
So he came out in 83 saying, I'm the guy from 43. Hey,
that sounds about right, yeah.
look at me.
Oh, look at me.
Look at me
I was
pantaloons.
diving into the waters, you know. I don't know why he had that weird accent.
Diving into the waters.
You know, Philadelphia accents. I don't know that. What's that like?
You sounded a little Australian.
I think it sounds a lot like Rocky.
Yeah.
Besides all stories and supposed eyewitness accounts, the U.S. Navy categorically denies that the experiment ever happened. That's a given.
You don't. Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
it didn't happen.
The fact that the USS Eldridge was in Philadelphia and Norfolk, Virginia on the same day. Virginia is accounted for the fact that the Navy had access to a channel which was used by other ships and which allowed the ship to travel that distance in 6 hours, which is by 30 hours faster than the conventional time needed for the merchant ships. So, you know, they're just like, yeah, we had a shortcut.
Yeah.
A secret
shortcut.
like a water channel. And it only takes 6 hours. That's a bit of a...
The Navy had stated that they had never made a ship disappear, nor could they make one disappear, and please stop asking. That the story surrounding the Philadelphia experiment was just a weird combination of theories, legend, and the fact that they were, a bunch of crazy people. So, yeah. But, I mean, for real, the Navy, if it did have that technology, it could make their ships invisible to the naked eye.
Well, they do that with radar.
Yeah.
That's what I'm... Yeah. Yeah. That's opinion time, though.
That's opinion time.
In the Navy.
No, that's not an opinion. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Oh. Charlie, do you know what time it is?
It's time for me to drink the rest of this beer that rematerialized in my glass.
It's opinion time.
Perfect.
Now, just before we get started on opinion time here, I wanted to share 3 messages we got from some friends.
Ooh, we got feedback.
We got a little feedback, yeah. But you can reach
Be more
us.
constructive with your feedback.
You can reach us at itsaconspiracy@protonmail.com, at isitaconspiracy, hashtag isitaconspiracy, or our Facebook group or our Instagram. Okay, so the first one is from Steph, who says, your podcast keeps me awake in the morning. Thank you. Sitting on the train straight up laughing. People won't sit. That was the Coke Avril Superman one. Oh, I enjoyed it. My favorite thing is the Mandela Minute.
Oh, nice.
I know.
Check.
Thank you.
Here's one from Chris. I just caught up on the Mother's Day special, I must say. I did never think I'd be driving through the Okanagan at 6 a.m. listening to audio of Andrew putting wiener juice in his mouth. Well played, ladies and gents. Well played.
So you do know how to do a fucking Australian accent.
You got lucky, I think.
Yeah.
He committed and was like, whoa.
And then this one is one of my favorites here. I don't know how to say this. Paulo Moises. This is a YouTube comment on our Malaysian flight MH370 missing plane video. They shot it down because they thought it was a 911, and now they play stupid. IMO, of course. You know, same way they shot down Flight 93. So you don't think USAF was ordered to shoot it down since it was clearly heading to DC and the White House? Most of this is in caps. Why do you think they came up with the let's roll crap, right? all it takes is a machine gun burst. Fuck you.
Really? Did it really say that?
He edited it later, but that's what it started with. Yeah.
Wow. I hope
great.
he's still listening. That was great.
That's the real kind of feedback we need.
That's amazing.
More enthusiasm. Like
Give
that.
that.
Hilarious. Oh, I love that.
Holy shit.
So there's some messages from our friends online.
I like that you ramped them up too.
Yeah.
Sitting on a train to like, fuck you!
Now, have either of you ever noticed the strange looks that you get when you talk about this podcast with your friends or family or whatever?
All the time.
You're like, we have a podcast. It's about conspiracies, and you immediately get the look like,
Oh yeah.
and
No,
you're like,
no, my family knows I'm weird anyways. They're just like, oh, here we go again.
well, you have to explain. You're like, look, we're not crazy. We're not crazy. We're not crazy. We're
But-
just we just do this thing, but we're not crazy. And you can see them like rolling through the like, oh, boy, that sounds great. So
well, as long as you're having a good time.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is.
sounds like fun. But we're just a heads up. We've never really addressed this, but we're very normal people. We're friends with 25 letters of the alphabet, and we don't know why. Okay. Now, Greg, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird segue. Greg, can you tell me what our first topic was?
Did we land on the moon?
Did we land on the moon? And Charlie, what was our second topic of the evening?
Which was our favorite Spice Girl?
Obviously, it was sporty.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on.
I like saffron spice myself.
Oh, wait, I forgot. It was so long ago.
Second topic was,
Yeah, can you remember? Without looking?
is Australia bloody real,
Oh,
mate?
God, yes.
You're a loose unit.
That's right, that's right. That's
Play
right.
case on.
And then Andrew was the third one.
Did the Philadelphia experiment make some sailors mangled semen disappear?
Mangled semen.
Yeah,
Mangled
in a
semen.
bar in Virginia somewhere.
Something like that.
In which Virginia? There's West Virginia. There's the Mother's Day Virginia.
In Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk, Virginia. Maybe there's West Virginia and regular Virginia, like original recipe Virginia.
Yeah, it's Virginia and West Virginia.
Okay, so there's like original recipe Virginia.
And
In West Virginia.
Extra
crispy. Virginia.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Stankonia.
Our Mandela Minute was were there 6 people or 5 or 4? That is one of the most fascinating ones.
What do we think?
So Greg, what do you think on the first topic here? Did we land on the moon?
oh man, you're asking me first.
Yeah.
I am saying we did land on the moon. I'm saying the evidence that we have is all fake, and Neil Armstrong and all those men did not land on the moon. If they did, they went eventually.
You think that we didn't move it?
But when they
Didn't
said
land on the moon.
no, I'm sure we did.
Okay.
I'm saying that when they said that they did, they didn't do it. That was all faked. Everything about it was faked.
You realize the level of cover up that would take to get this conspiracy.
All you
like,
got to
to
do is
cover
have a
up.
good excuse. How
talking-
come there's no footage? Radiation. Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
But hundreds of thousands of people,
Yeah.
like all in on it. That's a lot. That's the thing.
Well, not even just hundreds of thousands of people. You got to think about all the people that like watched it on TV when it happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Like 600 million people watched it happen. I know.
I didn't like as a child. I remember like walking around making jokes. I'm like, oh yeah, the moon landing never happened. I'm kind of a firm believer on that being a fake video.
Okay.
You know, I'm saying we went there. I just don't think all the footage and information that they had and all the moon rocks and shit, you know, that's not real.
You don't think that's real. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Charlie, what do you think?
I think you're sort of right.
No?
I think they went there and they got some footage and then they came back and then they were like, okay, let's look at this. No, we can't show this to anyone. This is garbage. This is the crap. This is
Yeah.
just shitty.
Well, okay, this is the thing is like
This is a shitty camcorder. Like nobody's like,
Those pictures are
Look,
crystal clear.
look,
man.
we're going to bring this to the people. We got to make an impact. We got to get some big Hollywood director in here, get to a soundstage and reshoot this thing. And then,
sizzle it up.
yeah, we got to add some zazz. Just zazz it up a little.
All right. Yeah. No. Did you have a thought on that, Greg?
no, I'll let you do yours and then we'll continue talking.
They 100% went to the moon. I have no doubt in my head that that they did it. I think it was a very it was before the time they were like, by the time they got, like, it was like, we have to win this race. We have to win the space race. We have to put lives on the line. We have to win the Cold War, no matter what the cost.
Why not just lie about it, but then do it after?
But that's the point. Like the level that they went to, like if they lied about it, then everything adds up. Like the reflective qualities of the dust making those pictures possible. And I mean, that stuff is still there. Like they've got pictures of like recently they've taken pictures of like whatever the Japanese camera was that, or the satellite that was in like 2008. It took pictures of like the lunar gear just kind of rolling around there. Like, and I get it. There's a lot of weird stuff.
No, like I affirm with you. I said they went. I'm just saying that they didn't go when they said they did.
And that's where I would definitely disagree. But I mean, that's, you know, and that, yeah, I think they did it. I think they did it. Like what they were trying to do was win this race. And it was meant to be like a science and humanity thing, but they weren't quite ready when they got there. They were like, oof. And they, you know, it's strange. Once they got there, the amount of money that they would have spent getting there was something like hundreds of billions of dollars. And they were like, well, you know, we're going all the way and we're coming back with like bags full of dust and dirt and we don't really know what to do with it. We're not sure. Like, this is weird. And now there's rumors of like there might be oil on the moon, or the moon may have originally been part of the Earth. And
or we never went to the moon because it's made out of plasma.
Yeah, or the Earth is flat and the moon isn't even there.
Plasma.
Yeah. So I mean,
where do you think they get the TVs from?
Oh, watch out!
One of the things that I will say is that this thing with this guy dying in a very strange car accident days before he's about to testify to like this big tribunal.
That's a hush thing.
That feels like a real 60s hush up thing. Like, let's just kill them all.
We're gonna take it.
There was a really suspicious fire where a bunch of people died. There have been so many things. There was years later, there was the Challenger explosion. There's all kinds of like issues there. Like no doubt it's the classic, like if you want to make an omelet, you got to snap some necks.
Snack on some eggs.
Yeah, you got to snack on some eggs. Yeah, you got to snap those necks
I'll make omelets in my mouth.
if you want to get up there. Because the thing is that, I mean, you just can't get that far without some sacrifices. So I don't know until they go again. I don't think the story, but even when they go again, they're like, look, there's the lunar module.
Because we've been there.
This is my one thing though, is just like everything we could say. It's just we would sound like a Joe Rogan repeat for 5 minutes.
Like faking the footage.
Or what if they forgot the film? They got all the way up there and they're like, "Hey Tony, pass me the film." Oh,
well, okay.
You grabbed the film.
The other thing back then is they told you not to travel with film in your carry-on luggage, because if you walked through the security check, it would wipe your film. So they're going out.
So imagine going through the ozone.
From the that's what I mean. You're going into space where there is not just X-ray radiation or like metal detecting radiation.
Yeah,
there's a fucking sun up there trying to kill you, man.
Well, and they talked about like in the Van Allen belts where they the time of year they chose was when the rings were like the furthest apart, I guess, or something like that. And the radiation would be at its ultimate lowest. So it was like and they minimized the time that they'd spend it. It was like 2 hours.
And yet another thing, they had so much information on the Van Allen belt that they knew that the rings were far enough apart at that point in time. And we are like finally just getting photos of a black hole that's a couple of light years away. We
got to be really careful of that, because like there's people that now that were like, we just landed this rover on like not we, but like there's people, there's brains on Earth that landed that satellite on that asteroid flying through the Earth. And at the same time, there's people that are like, the Earth is flat and Australia isn't real. And it's like, no. There's a high skepticism in science, because why would
definitely with you?
And that's, you got to factor that in. That's the popular, it's like they're lying, but at the same time, you gotta want to wonder, why are they lying?
I'm not even saying that they're lying. I'm saying like they just happened to come up with the technology to get to the moon, which was very difficult, and that was far enough away. Isn't the Van Allen belt even farther away than the moon?
No, it's between the Earth and the moon. No. It's around the Earth, yeah.
All right, well then I don't know shit about space.
No.
Like actually, like
yeah. I mean, but those are one of those confusing things. Even though because there's that I mentioned like very few things. Like there's things like there's a picture of Neil Armstrong on the ladder, and it's like he's in the shadow of the shuttle, and they took a picture, and you can see him clear as day, even though he's standing in the shadow. It's like, how did that happen? Or the flag waving and there's no atmosphere, or the fact that they would have been taking pictures that are like crystal clear in focus, and they would have been using like big moon gloves to like operate the camera.
photo, yeah.
Pretty hard to. It's like, but if you practice that for like 3 years leading up to it, and you were
Can
like,
you imagine picture taking photography, moon photography 101?
oh, dude,
Is your course?
Can you imagine that?
You have to go to every day.
But these are like they would be the most physically fit human beings they could find in the States that are like also like genius level IQ people. Like these guys, they weren't just like military grunts. Like they were handpicked of the best. I don't know. It's a weird one. Yeah. Charlie, so are you guys saying that there's in this one
We went to the moon. I'm saying they didn't do it when they said they did.
they didn't do it? So there's a bit of deception.
Yeah.
I say they did it, but they fucked up. And so they had to get some better film.
Yeah, okay.
Something better to show the people.
Yeah. And I'm like firm believer everything we saw is exactly what happened. They did it. Like they planned it. And they probably put lives on the line and murdered some people in the pursuit to do that.
And I bet you think we need daylight saving times, don't you?
I'm fine with getting rid of that stuff. Okay, so
Number 2.
Charlie, what do you think of Australia isn't real?
I think that's ridiculous. We're good. Okay, so Australia is obviously real, right?
It's okay. So the reason the flat earthers have a problem with Australia is because if you flew all the way around to Australia,
I get it.
When you got there, the plane would be upside down, and you would like
You'd fall because gravity doesn't exist.
Fall right at the top of your dumb plane.
Yeah.
Far right, man.
So you're okay. Have you ever met anyone from Australia?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've heard Australians plenty.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
It's lovely.
You don't think they're all actors? You don't think Paul Hogan and Hugh
what?
Jackman?
The only thing fake about Australia is their Aussie rules football. And then, like, I mean that with a lot of love. If there's somebody out there listening in Australia and you have the time to explain the rules to me, I will gladly listen.
Greg's just don't understand.
Yeah.
That I mean, okay.
They have a
If somebody just made that up to be the hoax, that's just like a pretend thing.
To cover up the genocide of 162,000 people.
They did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
they have a really good idiom.
They've got really, real good.
And adapted maps from like hundreds of years before. Pretty airtight. Like I said, you know.
pretty airtight, he says.
So what do you think, Greg? Is that one like have any kind of credibility at all, or is that just like one of those?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Australia's there.
But you've never been there.
Yeah.
Never been. I've talked to people who have been there, and if you can't see what I'm doing,
Yeah.
air
Quotes.
quotes around the being there.
Yeah. I've never been there myself, but I've met a lot of Australians, and yeah, this is so ridiculous. The whole
All right.
Yeah.
Season 2 of It's in Conspiracy. We go to Australia.
Oh man.
Episode 1.
The whole everything about flat earth feels like I need you to pay attention to me. I believe in this outrageous thing, and I'm just like this crazy guy. I'm so crazy. Look at like it's just ridiculous. It's like someone that does CrossFit. They just have to tell you about it, and you're like, shut the hell up. Nobody cares. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a CrossFit guy out there who's just like, I can't believe those guys who just talk about CrossFit and then make a joke about CrossFit.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine like I'm not even gonna
What were you going to say?
I was
What were
going
you
to
gonna
say,
say? What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say
CrossFit, flat earth, vegan.
I was going to say a vegan CrossFit guy. That would be
what you were
like,
gonna
wow, you just wouldn't shut the hell up. Oh,
Well, we just lost the vegan followers.
We just lost 3 chunks. We lost the CrossFit guys too.
Yeah.
and okay, so this thing with the Mandela Minute, man,
JFK.
I totally remember there being 4 people in the vehicle, the driver and somebody in the front, maybe the governor was how I remember it, and then JFK
Yeah.
and his wife in the back.
Yeah.
I just remember it as like a regular car though. That's the thing. But that's just because I honestly never paid the most attention to it personally. So
And then, yeah, that's the same for me, too. Like, I remember watching some scenes and then watching a conspiracy theory show late at night while your parents are watching TV. But, like, my mom for sure remembers it just being the governor. His wife wasn't there. And not that I trust her. And I would give her that one.
Like she remembers there being 5 people in the vehicle.
5 people in the vehicle.
Yeah.
Two Secret Service, governor in the middle, Jackie, and
we're sure
JFK in the back.
there were 6.
5.
No, we're getting all mixed
Picture
up
said
again.
6.
Okay, so there was six that you saw on that photo. So
Yeah.
we're gonna stick with that one.
Yeah.
6 in the real universe that we're in now.
Now I'm just like all kinds of confused.
6 in this universe. Greg's
Okay.
mom remembers
Greg remembers
5.
Oh, right.
Alternate reality
Right,
5.
right.
Yeah, and a lot of us remember 4 from
Yeah,
from
because
watching that.
I don't
that
remember
first.
so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And the reason, I don't see why people would see that there's anything wrong. Like, I don't trust the government, and they didn't let that tape out or the whole film out of the Zapruder tape out at all. There's just like a 20-second clip.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the whole thing.
Still you have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really fascinating one. And Greg, what was our last topic? Do you
What was
remember?
I don't know, man. Just
Cheesesteaks.
gotta just transfer from my memory to somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, cheesesteaks,
Philadelphia.
Fresh
Yeah.
Prince.
Philadelphia cream cheese experiment.
I wish it was real. That'd be pretty
Oh,
sweet.
God.
Like, I feel bad for all those guys who are kind of morphed into a wall screaming for their lives.
The mangled semen.
But I want to be transported somewhere. I want to be Star
Right.
Trekked into.
Energize.
Yep.
I want to pee into the stream and then it just land into the bathroom.
Yeah. This one, man, I feel like they were like, not to come up with a classic defense of it, but it's like they were like, we made it invisible to radar. And then someone was like, invisible? You mean you teleported it to another city? Like, that's, I think, how this came.
They were supposed
did-
to be
they did
different.
both.
They were supposed to be 2 different, like, separate experiments, though. Like one where they teleported and one where they just disappeared for a minute.
Yeah. I guess, wouldn't that teleportation thing come in real handy? Like,
Oh yeah.
in the 70 years since? Like,
Unless it would just like, no, this guys, they tried it and it almost worked, but it didn't really work, and everybody kind of turned into the part of the boat.
Yeah,
They're
it
like,
was-
you know what? This doesn't work so good. Shut it
Yeah.
down.
It was like The Fly.
And they're like, yeah, exactly. They're like, it's
Could
a boat.
be.
It's a man boat.
It's boat in my boat face.
Kill, sink me.
and actually, I guess that it could be one of those things that they were
Or
like,
it's like, no,
we can't. We got to put this technology away.
Gotta science harder
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
We got to blast this out into space and never talk of it again.
And all the people who are like, it's just. I went into this one guns ablazing, being all like, "Oh, this is gonna be great."
It is. It's fascinating.
It is good.
And
one.
then almost all of the accounts are like, he wrote it in letters to a person that he sent to 10 years after the fact, and also he didn't really know anything about it before the fact, and he said he met Einstein, but I don't think he ever met Einstein.
Yeah.
It's like, and then this other guy who dove into the water, and then
Well, and never mind. You have to. The minute you throw in unified theory, a lot of people are going to be like, I don't know what that means, but it's like the magic. You're like, it just means that they can do stuff.
blah
And you-
blah
and-
blah
and
blah
you-
Einstein, blah blah blah.
Who knows if it has anything to do with teleportation at all?
Yeah.
It's just unified theory. Well, that sounds fancy.
Well, there was more of it, but
But it's unified.
I didn't dig too far into that part.
didn't
I was
delve.
like, particle physics.
No,
pass.
in English, egghead.
Nerd. I did dig up that they made in 1984. They made a sci-fi movie.
It's a great movie.
About it. Great movie, and a sequel as well. Spawned a sequel, less engaging, from what I hear on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mystery Science Theater.
Ooh, I hope so.
We should check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with some of those sci-fi movies in the 80s. You might remember it better than it sort of deserved when you go back and watch it. You're like, ooh. Wasn't there an X-Files where they had like a boat that was like traveling through time and it was
Yeah, it
full
was like a
of-
black and white episode. I think.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one, if I remember correctly.
But your rememberies are a little hazy.
Rememberies.
Just in general, yeah.
In fact, who are you people?
I like to have some
am
fun.
I?
Yeah.
And who shat in my pants?
this,
Yeah.
this isn't where I parked my
Yeah.
car.
There's some things I remember really well, like pop culture for some reason. So
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, the next episode we'll talk about RoboCop or something like that.
Yeah.
There we go. Get you.
What human juice or human soup?
Human soup.
The guy that gets hit by the car after
Oh,
he gets all that toxic waste.
Can you fly, Andy?
Oh, man, that movie.
Can you
we've-
fly, Bobby?
It's so. Oof. Yeah. It's so disgusting. It's so disturbing, and it holds up. Like after the remake came out, I went back and watched the original. And I'm like, I'm willing to let go of a lot. And that scene, and that's funny because it's not even like a big special effects scene. It's just a guy with like makeup, and they probably just. Like we talked about it, threw some
threw, like,
water
a
balloons
bag
full of
of
soup on the windshield. It's
vegetable
the
soup
grossest
just right
thing.
at the window. I'd buy that for $1.
So gross. And that sound. So gross.
That was so spot on.
Yeah, we will be back with our Fazas Day.
Fazas.
It's a Fazas.
What's a Fazas?
Oh, that's a keeper.
Save me from myself.
Or so I was going to call it the Dad Venture. I don't know if that's a little too on the nose, as it were.
The de-adventure.
Dad Venture. That's going to be on June 13th, and then our awards episode of the season will be on July 1st.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Yeah, that's going to be a season breakdown, a list of the beers we reviewed, a rundown of theme songs, a couple of a look back at some of the theories we talked about.
We're going to call these the conspies. Like, we need to come up with a good name.
The conspies.
He's got a good one right there.
I think we should just call it the conspies. Okay, cool. That is so many of the fun. You can find us at Is It a Conspiracy on Twitter. It's a Conspiracy Podcast on Instagram, our Facebook group, our email, it's a conspiracy at our Patreon page, patreon.com/it's a conspiracy, or just head straight to our website, it's a conspiracy podcast at it's a conspiracy podcast.com, and we'll get you sorted. To use Charlie's line,
We'll get you sorted.
we'll get you sorted.
I do say that.
Yeah, and if you'd like to buy some merchandise, then there's a great place you can stop by.
Oh, good oldmandesign.com for all your graphic design needs. You need some new shirts, man. Look at those shirts you got. Those t-shirts, they're wearing out. You got some holes in the armpits. Whew, you got to get yourself some new t-shirts. Let's get you sorted. Go to oldmandesign.com and go to the It's a Conspiracy section, and you know what? You order a shirt and I'll make you a tinfoil hat.
Aww. But yeah, thanks so much for stopping by, and please feel free to subscribe, rate, review, share, tell a friend, tell a stranger, tell an enemy.
Tell two friends, tell two enemies.
Tell two enemies, yeah.
They'll tell two enemies.
They'll tell their enemies, and the enemies will tell their
Hey,
friends.
look, here's the thing. Tell your cab drivers, tell your mailmen, tell,
Are those your enemies, Charlie? Is that what you're saying?
No, just people who I've encountered in general who like conspiracies.
Cab drivers and men.
Cab drivers tell me the best conspiracies. So if you're a cab driver who's got some conspiracies, get at us.
Yeah, please do.
We'll bring you on the show.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and take care.
Adios.
Bye. See you later.
Okay, so
Okay, before I'm going to the bathroom.
I'm peeing in my pants. 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 I'm peeing in my pants.
okay, so
I'm peeing in my pants.